Welcome to our next video. We'll be talking about inflation. How can we possibly explain inflation? There are two possible ways. There's cost push inflation and there's demand pull inflation. We'll be talking about the latter first of all, demand pull inflation. Take a look at this graph. We have the long run aggregate supply, which goes this way. It is totally inelastic when it comes to the price level. If the price level changes, there is no change at all in the real GDP, which means in the potential GDP. Then we have the short-run aggregate supply, which is not totally inelastic, which is not totally elastic either. It's between totally inelastic and totally elastic, which means this way. Then we have the aggregate demand. All in all, there is the equilibrium point here. The equilibrium point caused by short-run aggregate supply, by the aggregate demand, and by long-run aggregate supply. Now, what happens if there is a demand, like a shock in fiscal policy, expanding fiscal policy? So we have, first of all, there's a change in the aggregate demand. There is a shift to the right with the aggregate demand, causing, first of all, the price level to rise. There's a change, there's an increase in the price level because of this change here in aggregate demand. With a change too in the real GDP rises above the level of potential GDP. That's the short-run effect. The short-run effect goes from here to there in the short run. What happens afterwards? If the price level rises, what happens on the labor market? Trade union would see there's a rise in the price level. What can we do? What can we possibly do about the wage of money? The wage here on labor market? We have to make it rise too. And that's what happens after the rise in the price level. We have a rise of the wage. So, all in all, again, there is another increase in the price level. There is a second increase in the price level. There is a decrease in the short-run aggregate supply because of this. Because of this, we have a shift to the left of the short-run aggregate supply, which means that in the short run, we can move above the potential GDP, but in the long run, we cannot. We go back here, which means to the level of potential gross domestic product. But the disadvantage of this is the following. There's no change at all in the potential GDP in the long run, but there is a change in the price level. There is an inflation in the price level because of this, because of two changes in the price level, one here and one there, which means the price level has increased because of demand that has grown. Thank you for watching.